And now on Breakfast with Vossy and Brandy, The Back Page with David Riccio.
David Riccio, thanks to Conveyor Logistics for your warehouse automation solutions. Good morning to you, and we've spoken already about Angus Crichton and his extension at the Roosters. What we haven't spoken about, Dave, is just the significance of the story compared to where Angus has been over the last 12 to 24 months to now, as mentioned by Steve Roach last night, as probably the equal best edge forward in the league alongside maybe Viliami Kikau.
Mate, good morning, Matty. Good morning, Brandy. Yeah, absolutely spot on. A remarkable comeback it is. I still recall, guys, just over 12 months ago, standing on the hill at Henson Park, watching Angus Crichton play in the New South Wales Cup, his comeback game after a lengthy period out of the game, taking care of personal issues. And at that point in time, guys, I really didn't know where Angus's next step would come from. I certainly didn't think it would be at the Roosters for this next contract extension, which has been announced yesterday. I certainly didn't think he'd be there long term, to the point where the Roosters were freely suggesting that Angus wouldn't be there long term and that an overseas venture was on the cards if an NRL club didn't come knocking. And it is quite extraordinary. He's in a rich vein of form of complete dominance, and it's so wonderful to see because he's playing with confidence, guys, playing with confidence and a smile on his face. Because I've got to say, they were some dark periods for Angus, and to see him delivering now right through to a brutal performance, I would say, for the New South Wales Blues down in Melbourne. It is a remarkable comeback, guys.
Certainly is. Great story. He's a terrific young man, Angus Crichton, and he's been a very good Origin player for New South Wales over the last 4 or 5 years, Dave. Great to see him playing as well as he is. Satili Tupanua to the Dogs. Salary cap pressure. Well, sure. Well, it wouldn't be salary cap pressure because they're going to have a lot of money to spend. So Satili moves on for 650. Do the Roosters have to tip in any, or the Dogs have just taken that contract over?
No, it's just a straight takeover of the contract. And I'm with you, Brandy. This is not salary cap pressure at all. It's a management of their forward pack, is what it is. And we're forgetting that there's a very talented young back row coming through in Siwa Wong at the Sydney Roosters. That effectively will become the next Satili Tupanua. Satili's been an absolute mainstay with the Roosters, a fantastic player. But he goes to the Dogs now, guys, next year through until 2028. It's another smart recruit, as far as I'm concerned, from the Dogs. He offers both the ability to play on the edge, the ability to play in the forwards, and dare I say it, as we've seen in the last couple of weeks for the Roosters, he can play in the centres as well at a pinch. So it's just one of those quality buys that is taking the Dogs forward on a trajectory that we all know where it's headed. And he's all class. He's quality, experience, and will add so much more to that pack. Now, Dogs fans might be questioning, well, hang on a sec. We've got Viliami Kikau on an edge, and we've also got Jacob Preston on an edge. Now, we're seeing more and more in today's game, guys, less of the 80-minute back rowers. And at least at some point, you need a change on your edge to either push that edge back rower to the middle, or at least to give that edge back row a breather. And that'll firmly be the case with 3 quality back rowers in Jacob Preston, Satili Tupanua and Viliami Kikau at the Dogs from next season. It just gives them even more potency, guys.
Yeah, and speaking about the Roosters and the Dogs, really interesting games this weekend. The Roosters hosting St George Illawarra after their big Anzac Day win against the Dragons. The Dogs hosting the Warriors. Both teams off a win and looking for better times in coming weeks as well. When it comes to Vegas next year, Dave, Brent Reid reporting yesterday that Brandy's Panthers are going as one of the host teams, along with the Canberra Raiders, the Sharks and the Warriors, the other two. Do we know the matchups yet for round 0? And your reaction to those 4 clubs going in 2025?
Yeah, lock it in, guys, and I expect this to be formally announced tomorrow with a gala announcement from the NRL tomorrow. Look, as far as the matchup's not confirmed as yet, Matty. Look, that'll eventuate. I think the excitement will still be there, and to the point where the NRL are anticipating more numbers as far as fans travelling from Australia to Vegas next year, just on the basis of just how exciting round one of the 5-year deal, of which is a 5-year deal to go to Las Vegas, that first instalment, how exciting it was. I think there's a real momentum to head along, and I don't think the NRL, well, in fact, I know that the NRL, they didn't make the decision lightly on these 4 teams, and there was so much work and research done behind the scenes with each of the clubs that wanted to go to Vegas next year on how much commitment you're going to give the NRL in providing some type of guarantee how many fans are going to travel. And certainly from a Warriors point of view, the influence of another country of fans being potentially going was a major factor in the Warriors going. Certainly the Raiders, we know they have a huge band of supporters, and Magic Round guys it's somewhat of a bar that the NRL uses to determine how many travelling fans do you get to Magic Round, and certainly the Sharks, Panthers, and Raiders get good numbers to Magic Round. So there's all those factors taken into account before these 4 teams were chosen. Melbourne were probably the 5th team, guys, pulled out about 2 weeks ago, but it's all systems go. I expect an announcement tomorrow, guys.
Raiders fans, Panthers fans, Sharks, Warriors fans, jump on the Edgewater Homes text line 0457 736 736. Tell us, do you plan to go to Vegas? How excited are you about your team going stateside? And Brandy, an offshoot topic here is the one regarding the NRL investing big time in the States. We understand the thinking behind it, but Jim, a caller yesterday, highlighted some difficulties about rugby league in the UK and the fact that France played England in an international with horrible streaming that they could barely watch, that no one attended, etc., etc. Further to that, there was a tweet on X from John Davidson yesterday saying the NRL needs to realise how much trouble English rugby league is in, how dire the position is. Instead of Vegas and American dreams, they should be focusing on the UK, building the Super League, taking Origin to Wembley, creating greater links with English clubs. So there's a bit of momentum.
Not a bad point.
Yeah.
That's not a bad point, is it? Because the English Super League has been on the wane for 20 or 30 years now, David. From the days, of those great kangaroo tours to now that, the kangaroo tours aren't the same. They don't even play clubs. But when Australia were playing club against club teams at their home grounds, that's when English Rugby League was still strong. But we are talking back in the 90s now, like in the early 90s. It has been on a wane now for 30 years.
Yeah. Guys, this is legitimately on the NRL's radar, and I first reported this back at the time of Las Vegas. Actually, I wrote the story from Vegas with the entire NRL there and speaking to key contacts at the NRL. This is firmly on their radar on potentially investing in the English Super League and taking it over. And I think that would be the first step to resurrecting the English game, rugby league in England. And I certainly know that the NRL haven't gone away from that. They're still doing a lot of data and research on that and the financials around it. And also it would have a huge spin-off of conversations in and around NRL clubs becoming sister clubs with English clubs and providing new development and pathway systems. Yes, there would be huge logistical discussions to be had, but that potentially is where it needs to go to aid the game in England at this point in time. Also to that, guys, I can tell you now, whether this is announced tomorrow, I can't confirm, but it's certainly been a major discussion, and there has been negotiations in the background to also include 2 English clubs in Las Vegas for the double header of the NRL match, and now to make it effectively a triple header. And one of the key points to that was just the amount of English fans on the ground in Vegas this year. The NRL have noticed that. They've got the numbers on that, and they believe that, to everything you've said, to help, put a spotlight on the English game, putting them on also in Las Vegas would be a major positive for the game.
Yeah. Well, Brandy, the West Sydney Eagle, real quickly, just says, how good would an Origin game in a packed Wembley be? I think we'll consider that. But over to you, Brandy.
Yeah, that would be good. Teamless Tuesday, David, out talking about data and research. Manly have done a fair bit of that on Tom Trbojevic, which will see him named in the centres this afternoon.
Yeah, Brandy, I know you guys spoke about this at length yesterday, but that will certainly unfold today. Tommy Turbo will be named in the centres for Manly against the North Queensland Cowboys side that have struck form. It's going to be fascinating, guys, just to see how long Anthony Seibold can persist with Tommy out in the centres. We expect Totu Kula to be named at fullback. And it's basically a re-entry for Tom Trbojevic off the back of significant injuries. I can completely understand the thought process behind it. I'm just really intrigued to see how long the Seagulls persist with it. An interesting one too, guys, AJ Brimson. I expect AJ Brimson to be named today for the Gold Coast Titans, back from injury, now just in time for one last audition for a Queensland State of Origin bench spot, perhaps. AJ Brimson, I know he was on Billy Slater's radar certainly prior to Game 1, before we saw Selwyn Cobbo take that bench spot. But AJ Brimson, I expect to be named for the Gold Coast Titans. They play the Sharks in Coffs Harbour, guys.
Yeah, but we're Queenslanders. David, great rap. Great rap. Have a good day, mate. Have a good day. We'll talk tomorrow.
No, thank you, boys. Go well.
We will. Thank you, Dave Riccio. When automation is key to your business's success, trust Conveyor Logistics for your warehouse automation solutions. Dave Riccio, brought to us by Conveyor Logistics. A bit there to get through, and plenty of texts on the text line as well, Brandy. It's been a busy morning already.
It has, Matty. Are we taking a break now, or have we got time for a text or two?
I think we've got time. A few texts regarding Las Vegas, maybe.
Okay, how about you do a Vegas round with the World Club Challenge? So you play the 4 NRL teams plus World Club Challenge between the premiers of both competitions. Tom, yeah, that's been thrown up now for quite some time. That you get the World Club Challenge played there along with 4 separate teams, unless So I think that's a good idea. I think English Rugby League has been struggling for quite a while now. The money just isn't there. We might do a little bit of an investigation, Matty, and find out just how much money the players do earn these days. Like what are the top money earners in the English Super League? What's the average wage of the English Super League now? What's the minimum wage over there? We'll do a little comparison with what they do earn here in the NRL.
I'll get Jeff Turvey onto it. There has to be an investigation. He's the man. Now, absolutely booking my tickets to Vegas as soon as, says South Coast Pantherette. Big fear of missing out. It looked amazing early this year. Pumped to see my Panthers run around Allegiant Stadium. So that sort of sums up a bit of fan feedback already from those 4 clubs who've been selected. Gents, Panthers fan here in Bathurst, 100% I will be going. In fact, after seeing it this year, I told my wife that I want to go every year. Well, geez, that is enthusiastic every year, regardless whether your club is there or not.
I did. Did you feel that, Matty? Like watching Vegas from afar, you really did feel like you're missing out on something special.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love seeing the Fox raft of shows. They're right in the prime position with the trucks going past, advertising the strip joints in the background. But it was just fantastic. It was fantastic. I loved it.
Axel Rose is the knob of the highest order, says the Western Sydney Eagle. Just back on Axel and walking out on that concert back in 91.
Yeah. I tell you what, let's take a break. Let's go through a few more of these texts. We're back with Brecky, Vossy and Brandy style SEN right after this.